Hello Internet, Cory the Great here. Hey, let's continue bashing the video game companies we oh so despise. And next and here, we're going to be tackling EA. Hopefully literally tackling, because me, along with a lot of other people, hate EA, and there are plenty of reasons why. I have 1 1/5 pages of reasons why people hate EA. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, first off, I want to just tell you guys that EA really does not know how to budget their video games. And here's a prime example why. Dead Space 3. They dropped so much money into this game and expecting a lot of money in return. In fact, they said they needed to sell at least 5 million copies of the game in order to make a profit. 5 million copies. I don't think they've sold that many copies because Dead Space 3, by most accounts, is a big giant hunking steaming pile of dog shit mixed with cow shit, bullshit, and elephant shit. It's a big massive mountain of shit that mountain climbers would not want to climb up because it's a big giant mountain of shit. Okay? It's shit. And here's the thing. Another game called, say, Dark Souls, whenever the sales for that game reached the 2 million mark, developer From Software started celebrating with champagne, hookers. I'm not sure hookers. I don't know how they celebrated, but they celebrated because they're happy. They're happy they sold 2 million copies. That's considered a success by From Software. Now, if EA published sold only 2 million copies, there would be suicide packs all over the place, punch poisonings, guns to heads, slitting the wrists, and hangings all over the office, from the first floor all the way to the top, and at the CEO looking at sales numbers going, and then running out the nearest window, jumping, going, before landing right on the janitor's car. Okay. And now, speaking of games, EA also has talent, if you can call it that, for destroying once respectable franchises and just throwing them into a big giant hole, pouring cement onto the hole, and all the CEOs gathering around the cement to write their initials into the cement while the cement is still wet. And I got several examples of this. You ready? Okay. First of all, the Ultima series. Now, Ultimas 1 through 7 were good, I guess. Old school PC gamers really remember this series until Ultima 8 and 9. That's around the time EA bought Origin Systems, the company that made the Ultima games. And both Ultima 8 and 9 had catastrophic bugs, horrible gameplay, and Ultima 8 had a bunch of missing content, and so did Ultima 9, I guess. And Ultima 9 just contradicted everything that the entire series is building up to, with getting a lot of plot points wrong, a lot of other shit just wrong. I'm not going to go into it because Spoonie's video review of those games just explains all of that in great detail, and that's the reason why I don't have to explain all of this to you. And another company, they've started kicking like a dead horse, Bioware. And see, I love Bioware, okay? They've made some of my favorite games of all time, like KOTOR, Dragon Age Origins, the Mass Effect series. And then, alright, and then the Dragon Age Origins came around. That was like one of the first games that Bioware developed when they were bought out by EA. And I have a copy of it right here. See, Dragon Age Origins. Yeah, see, the EA logo is right there. Yeah, the stamp of fucking death. Of course, that didn't stop the game from being as great as it is, even though it did have some downloadable content that came with the game since day one of the game's release, that you had to input the code and you have to download the content, and there you go. They couldn't just put it on the disc because EA doesn't know how to run a business, do they? Nah, not really. I mean, of course, they're making a lot of money, but I just don't understand it. I don't understand this fascination of running the game franchise into the game industry into the fucking ground. And that's not even getting into Dragon Age 2. And I will be getting to the game vouchers and the season passes a little later in this video. Now, Dragon Age 2, oh man, that game was bad. It was atrociously bad. It's just not nearly as good as Dragon Age Origins in every way. I mean, they just butt-fucked the series right there. And it had the absolute most insulting ending to any game I have ever played in my entire life. You want to talk about bad endings in video games? Forget Mass Effect 3. Let's concentrate on ending the Dragon Age 2, which pretty much rendered the entire game pointless. The game pretty much flat out tells you that everything you did in the game was a complete waste of fucking time and we should leave everything to God. No, I'm not kidding. That was the ending to the game. Really. Video game's a waste of time. Who would have thought, right? Yeah. It just astounds me how they did this. I mean, imagine if in, say, Final Fantasy X, the characters just dropped everything and left everything to the genocidal god that's been butt-fucking spirit for the past 1,000 years. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure things would have gone all very smoothly, yeah. No, they wouldn't. And you want to know why? Because he's a genocidal maniac. Yevon is a genocidal maniac that's been destroying towns and villages and ending countless lives for the past 1,000 years. He has to be stopped. Not he left everything to, but the maker's not a bad guy in Dragon Age Origins. But no. If you want to do something done, you want results, you gotta do it yourself, okay? You can't just leave it to a god that may or may not exist. I don't know. Never mind, I'm just going to be moving on before I piss off too many Christians. Now, the Syndicate reboot. Now, for those of you who don't know, Syndicate was a tactical strategy game that was beloved by a lot of people. Not so much me, I never played it. But a lot of people have, and all those people tell me that it is a really damn good game. Now, what does EA do? They take the game, and they turn it into a generic first-person shooter. A similar thing was done with XCOM, but thankfully we got an XCOM Enemy Unknown, an actual strategy game, which is fucking awesome. And the shooter XCOM is been pretty much forgotten about already by everybody. Do you even know what I'm talking about? No, of course you don't, because nobody knows what I'm talking about with this game, because apparently this game doesn't exist, and you know what? The game industry is better for it. Now, hold on one second. Talking about shitty video game companies makes my throat dry. Now, SimCity, the next game I wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, a lot of you know about the crashes and the fact that nobody can play the game for the first fucking week of release because the servers were down and EA just doesn't know how to use the servers, and I don't know, that trend will continue in Battlefield 4. And before I get to that game, I just want to say, why would you even want to play SimCity, which by all accounts is an extremely dumbed down version of, say, SimCity 4, which is a much cheaper game you can buy on Steam. It has much more content, it's deeper, and yes, they did discontinue the always online thing, even for a single player game, for the sake of features nobody asked for. And alright, moving on, Battlefield 4. Okay, this game also had a lot of problems with its online multiplayer component. It had the season pass thing. Again, I will be getting to that eventually, so stay tuned. And it's had crashes and multiple bugs, and they even had to delay the release of their DLC just to fix all this shit. And when you gotta do that, you know you fucked up. You fucked up hard. You slipped on a fucking banana peel and landed right on a rebar. Yeah. Yeah, and of course they're making a new Battlefield Hardline, and you know what? I'm just gonna bet myself. Let's see. I'm gonna bet myself $15. See, I'm going to bet myself $15 that Battlefield Hardline has the same fucking problems that Battlefield 4 had, and you know what? I think I'm gonna lose $10 to myself. So yeah, I'm going to be getting $15 from this bet that I'm going to be losing to myself. So yeah. Okay, well, you know what, moving on. Now, the final game I wanted to talk about before I talk about the season passes, and this does tie into the whole pass thing, the game called the Saboteur. Now, if you don't remember the game, it's an open world World War II game where you play as an Irishman and you kill Nazis and shit. Now, this does the game does manage to be fresh because it's not a shooter, first-person shooter or whatever. It's a open-world game where you get to drive around cars, run over Nazis, you get to go out, punch Nazis, you get to shoot Nazis, you get to disguise as Nazis, sneak behind Nazis, slit Nazis' throats, and yeah, basically you kill Nazis, but you know what? They're Nazis. Nazis are fun to kill. Fuck Nazis. And the one thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that they had the little DLC voucher inside the box to unlock the nudity in the game. Otherwise, you just get all the boob girls with tape on their nipples or whatever. So they're basically, so if you bought the copy of the game used, you have to pay a little extra money just to see the boobies. Yeah, I bet all the CEOs of EA are just sitting back in their recliners made out of money, imagining horny nerds going, "I want to see the boobies!" But you know what? There are cheaper alternatives to boobs and Saboteur, okay? You can go look up porn on the internet, or you know what, better yet, play a better game. Play The Witcher 2. That game has plenty of nudity, and it is downright sexy. Alright? Oh yeah. Now, stop talking about the games for a moment and let's talk about some of their policies, like the now discontinued Season Pass. Now, see how this works is, even in single-player games that have Season Passes that unlock extra content, like the content in Dragon Age Origins. They had one for Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. And for multiplayer games, a Season Pass is required. So if you buy the game used, you don't have the Season Pass in there. So what do? You gotta buy a Season Pass, which makes the game equal, if not more expensive in price than a new copy of the game. And this is what professionals call a dick move, okay? This is a move made by a dick. This is a gigantic schlong slapping you across the face, and it's this long, and nobody wants to get slapped across the face with a dick that fucking big, okay? If I wanted to get slapped across the face with a dick that fucking big, I'd just go to Ron Jeremy's house, alright? Now, thankfully, they discontinued this because, as we all knew, this was a dumb move, and they finally realized this was a dumb move, too. At least I think they discontinued it. I hope they discontinued it, because, you know what, I'm done explaining Season Passes and how stupid they are, so let's just move on to the final topic. Origin, their online distribution service, similar to Uplay, and just as fucking unreliable and stupid, and why don't all of these companies just rely on Steam? For the love of God, Steam is so much better. Now, this has the same problems as Uplay, as crappy servers, and they only have EA published games on their service. As far as I know, I didn't download Origin, and you want to know why I didn't download Origin? Because apparently downloading Origin just butt fucks your PC and just uses way more processor power than is fucking needed. It's just a simple program. Why you gotta do this to our computers, guys? Why? Just what the fuck? And this is bullshit right here is why I have a firm belief that we are heading into another video game crash, okay? In another industry crash. The same crash that happened back in 1983 before Nintendo decided to plunge it out of the fucking toilet with the Mario games. Along with a few others like Zelda, Metroid, and you all know all this, okay? And it's such a big video game crash that was largely caused by E.T. the Extraterrestrial on the Atari 2600 that they buried like millions of copies of that game into a landfill, which gamers are now going to dig up, like they're archaeologists and shit. Some of them may dress up like Indiana Jones, and why wouldn't you? That'd be pretty fucking hilarious to watch and do. And there's even an Angry Video Game Nerd movie about this shit. Angry Video Game Nerd goes to the landfill and goes to try to get the... You know what? If you want to look up the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, just look it up online. There's videos about it, and go watch the fucking movie. You'll hear a bunch of diarrhea jokes, dick jokes all over the place. That's what the Video Game Nerd does, and I love him for it. Okay, so that is my video about EA. Now, next time, I'm going to be continuing this bashing of bad video game companies with Activision. I'm going to talk about Activision, and yes, Call of Duty is going to be brought up more than once. Believe me. So, until next time, goodbye, Internet. Cory the Great out.